It's recording.
All right.
Hi, I'm here with Natalie Lawson. Natalie is an amazing lender who works with Cross Country Mortgage.
Hi, everyone.
And today is Thursday, April 9th. And as you know, things are changing day by day, hour by hour. So what we're going to talk about today, I think, is as of today. We don't know what it might be tomorrow, but for the purposes of this, it's things as they are today. So Natalie, I've had some questions from some of my clients, and I've got them over here. I'm going to have to refer to them. And I thought it might be helpful to just spend a few minutes today with you, just asking you some of these questions so we can provide answers to them. So I really appreciate you taking this time to talk with me today.
Of course. Thanks for the opportunity.
So my first question is, talk to me about jumbo loans. I mean, I'm hearing they're getting to be more difficult to obtain, and just wanted to see if that's true or not, and if you could just explain, first off, what a jumbo loan is.
So a jumbo loan in Colorado is anything over $510,400. Well, I'm lying. That's wrong. The conforming loan limit in Colorado is $510,400, but we can actually lend up to about $575,000 in what we call high balance. So it's not necessarily considered a jumbo until it's over $575,000. So between $510,400 and $575,000 is what we call high balance. We're not having a problem lending in the high balance arena, but jumbos have definitely tightened. Basically, the easiest way to explain it is maybe we used to have 10 outlets to sell our jumbo loans to, and now we really have one or two. So we've got to follow their guidelines, and they're a little bit more strict probably than they used to be. So in many cases, we're looking to break up the loan to a first and second, so that we're not having to be tied to just the jumbo guidelines, and offer a little bit more as far as interest rate options and loan options go.
Okay. So it sounds like it's still doable, just like with everything in this market right now. We've just got to kind of think of a workaround to make things happen.
Yes. Yep. Still doable, and I think it's still changing day to day. So what's available today might not be available tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And we're having to just be very careful, I guess, with what we're offering, and probably just wanting to close as soon as possible.
So on that note, with employment verification, I know that they're being a lot more stricter and checking employment more often during the process. Can you talk about that?
So we used to verify employment. We're always going to verify employment, right, throughout the loan process. We have what's called a closing verification of employment, and that used to be due 10 days prior to closing. Well, now we're really doing that at 3 days prior to closing, and on some programs, we're verifying employment the day of closing. One of those programs is jumbo. We have to verify the employment on the day of closing, and also any of our bond, or basically our CHFA loan products, we verify the day of closing. The rest are really right at 3 days.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about interest rates. I mean, they're kind of all over the place, and I don't know if you can make any predictions, but so this is kind of a two-part question. There's that, and then I'm telling some of my clients who are, starting to think about purchasing a home and looking into interest rates, that maybe they want to start off with doing an application and getting that done and sitting on hold, so that when the interest rate hits a nice number, they can call and lock in. Is that correct information, or can you kind of talk about those two things?
Yes, that's great information. That's actually what we're telling our clients as well. So we get a lot, what's the interest rate? And it's not a simple answer, because interest rates are dictated by the loan program, the credit score, loan to value, occupancy, all of those things are going to get you a different interest rate. So that's number one. Number two, if you're purchasing, right, it's always better to get your loan application in sooner. You can't lock in an interest rate until you have a property. So once you're under contract, then yes, we can continue to watch and see what they do and lock in. We're really urging every day to lock on purchases. There's really nothing to win. Rates are good. So when you can lock, get rid of all the uncertainty and just lock in your interest rate. And if it's the payment that suits your needs, then lock it in and let it be what it is. We can see the interest rates swing from day to day. And as you know, programs are getting scrutinized, or we're losing options each day. And if you're locked in, then you're getting rid of all that uncertainty, and at least you're locked in at that rate on your loan on that property.
And that's a great point, is you lose the uncertainty. Now this is my payment, this is where we're going to be, and you can just sit back and rest,
Exactly.
relax about that.
Yep.
What about refinancing? Is it a good time to do that?
Yeah, we think it's a great time to refinance. Our policy is we got to get your application in, credit. Sometimes we can get away with an appraisal waiver, which those are amazing, and some loan programs don't even require an appraisal, like a VA.
For me, like the last 2 loans I think I've done through
Yep.
you.
Yeah, so those are always a huge help. I mean, speaking about appraisals, some of those are easier to do right now anyway. Some of our options are to do a drive-by or an exterior only, so that the appraisers aren't having to go into homes. So we have those options as well. But refinancing is good. If you have a lot of equity in your home, refinancing is really easy right now. That's where you're probably going to get an appraisal waiver. Some of the bond programs, if you bought with down payment assistance within the last year, those are a little bit harder to come by because you now have to pay off that second, and you might not have enough equity in your home to do that.
Okay. Is there kind of a rule of thumb on how much of an interest rate should be lower than what your current is? I mean,
I think as lenders, we all like to say that there is a rule of thumb, like, oh, if you're over 4%, give us a call. It really depends on your circumstances, though. If you have a very low loan amount, 0.5% in your rate isn't going to do much to your payment. The higher your loan amount is, any reduction in rate you're going to get more savings per month. The best thing to do is we're just having everybody send us their mortgage statement so that we can put together a quote and really let those customers know if it makes sense for them or not to refinance.
Okay. Now you mentioned appraisals and drive-by appraisals. What other things with all of this COVID stuff that's going on? What other things are you doing to think about safety and to make that as easy as possible?
So we are a face-to-face lender. I make it a point to meet with most of my clients face-to-face if possible. That's obviously not necessarily an option, and not necessary when we have Zoom and FaceTime. So a lot of our mortgage meetings are being done over the phone or over Zoom. Our office is open if anybody needed to drop by documents or come by and wave. But most of our staff is working from home, and most of our meetings are virtual meetings.
So they can do an electronic application and scan and send their documents to you if they just don't want to leave their home.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
What else do I want to ask you? Oh, first-time buyers. Kind of wrap up maybe with first-time buyers. Is it more difficult for them now? I mean, if they've got good credit, a good job, and all of that, are there still first-time buyer programs? Can you just talk a little bit about first-time home buyers?
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely still a place within lending to get some first-time home buyer programs and assistance. Obviously, if you have great credit, good employment history, then you should be just fine. Our down payment assistance program is with CHAFA here in Colorado, and we're lending on it, but there are some tighter guidelines to fit within. So if you're probably under a 640 credit score, it might not be so easy for you. If you have any late payments in the last 12 months, you might not be able to get the down payment assistance. There's still many options. There's still FHA, there's still conventional, where you can bring your own down payment and it's still minimal. It's still 3.5% or 3%. And when you fit within those guidelines and you have that 3%, then there's still many opportunities for you to buy. And again, the best thing to do is always apply early, because even if we're never going to say, no, you can't buy a home. We're always going to say, hey, maybe right now is not the time, but we're going to put, or show you guys the path on how to become a homeowner in the future.
So I think the best thing to do if they have a question is to give you a call and maybe just talk about it with you a little bit. Natalie, do you want to give your phone number, or you guys can always reach her through me?
Yes, my phone number is 720-365-4415.
And I think that's it. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, or?
No, just stay safe and sane out there or inside your homes.
Yeah, and the same from me. Thank you so much for giving me this time. And everybody, if you have any questions, again, feel free to call me or you can contact Natalie. Take
Thanks,
care.
Libby.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.